Hello and welcome. Well, some good news coming in on the vaccine front. The coronavirus vaccine developed by the University of Oxford stops 70% of people developing COVID symptoms. That's what a large-scale trial shows. It's both a triumph and a disappointment after vaccines by Pfizer and Moderna showed 95% protection. Remember, those announcements came a little earlier. But there is still some good news. There is intriguing data that suggests perfecting the dose could increase protection up to 90%. However, the Oxford vaccine is far cheaper and is easier to store and get to every corner of the world than the other two. They require very, very low temperatures storage. So it will still play a significant role in tackling the pandemic if it's approved by regulators. The Oxford researchers have performed the normally decades-long process of developing a vaccine in 10 months. More than 20,000 volunteers were involved, half in the UK and the rest in Brazil. In fact, it's also being tested here in India. Well, to talk more about this announcement, we're joined by Dr. Rachna Kucheria, founder, Doc Genie Telemedicine, MPH Epidemiology. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. First, explain to us, yes, coming up after the Moderna and Pfizer announcements of 95% efficacy, 70%, to viewers might seem a little bit of a disappointment, but explain this to us.
I still think it's very good news from the world of vaccine development. And I've also just seen the data barely, half an hour, 40 minutes ago, whatever little is available. And they've done 2 parallel trials using different dosage regimens. And my understanding is that with one of the regimens, they did achieve 90% efficacy, and the other one somewhat less, about 60-something%. But to me, the other more exciting or as exciting news is that some of their endpoints, they've, at least in this brief that I have read, in preventing severe disease, in preventing hospitalization, they've seen those endpoints. And that to me is quite exciting also. We're also waiting for some data on asymptomatic infection, which is pending. They've looked at that aspect of the trial as well. So I think overall, the news is pretty exciting. And as you said, the requirements for storage and transportation, also the cost of the vaccine here, will be much more amenable to distribution in a country like ours.
Absolutely. So that's why this news is great news in terms of for a common man here in India to think of actually getting access to this vaccine, because Pfizer and Moderna was still quite some way away from us, while the Oxford vaccine is being produced here by the Serum Institute of India. And also, like you're talking, transporting it will be a lot easier.
Absolutely. And also, I will say that the trials are happening on some of our own population as well.
Yes.
Having, read the good news and sort of also feeling good about some of the news that's coming out, I will put a word of caution that we still have to wait for all the scientific data to be released, scientific papers to be released about this vaccine. I'm sure it will, and I'm sure they're applying for approvals. And then the second thing is that, remember, they're in very early days, even after the vaccine gets approved and the first frontline workers start getting the vaccine. Remember that we will have to be very, very watchful for the side effects that may come in the later months to come, in the years to come. So that has to be watched out for, and systems have to be geared up in our country to make sure that we are catching those, we are recording those, and then some thought about compensating in case those do start to happen. I do want to add that word of caution in the mix of this good news that we've got today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Rachna, for joining us on this issue.